Hello everyone, this is the IFC Architect. Today we're going to be doing the BlenderBim step-by-step tutorial project. This is going to be part 3, dealing with the 2D section and elevation. If you missed parts 1 or 2, dealing with modeling and general 2D drafting, those are available on the channel. Alright, to install BlenderBim or Blender, check the installation videos in the description. Please update your BlenderBim to the latest build I'm using, found on my channel about page. My layout very simply has the properties on the right hand side and the outliner on the left hand side. Please make sure that you've got your snaps enabled, which just allow you to easily model things and move them around, and make sure that your move gizmo, this little object here, is selected. Control Z, Control Z. You can follow what I'm doing with screencast keys in the bottom left. Okay, cool, let's get started. Alright, we're going to move on to adding a section. I just noticed though that the element, the tags we added, and the sanitary terminals and the door were not added to the building story. Just make sure your objects are always inside the correct building story so that it's organized properly. So I'm just going to collapse this because we don't need it for now. And I'm going to open up views and I'm going to collapse the story, the IFC story plan. And we're just going to come here. So we're going to add the section. We're going to come here. We're going to say section. We're going to say east facing. And then I want this to cut through the bathroom. Right about there. So I'm just going to say click this plus sign. You can see it's added a camera view and it's added a 2D annotation cut symbol. So we're going to click select east section, and you can see it's added a collection on the side here. And we're just going to say activate view. Well, first I'm going to select the my story, the RL cut, and I'm just going to take this and I'm going to snap it to the element. Then I'm going to select the camera again, and I'm going to come to the object.attribute properties, and we're just going to do the same thing we did with the other camera. For this, I think I can do 6, and I think we want it to be 1 to 50. I'm going to temporarily turn off my snaps so that I can move this to the center, and I'm just going to turn them back on. And then you can just see our grid lines have not been adjusted, so I'm just going to select them, and I'm just going to say tab. And I'm going to grab the tops there, and I'm going to say GZ, bring them in. And we're just going to snap out of the view so we can just come to the bottoms. And I'm going to say GZ to bring them up. And I'm going to press naught to snap back into the view. And I'm just going to say GZ minus 400. 1 to 50, 400, 500, 600 is a good millimeter spacing. GZ 400, so it's out of the way. And then I'm just going to come here and I'm going to select my story annotation, and I'm going to say GY, and I'm going to bring it out by about, I want it to clear that roof line, so I think minus 400 as well. It makes sense to me. I'm just going to make sure my viewport annotation has been updated, and we're just going to select this, make sure it's 1 to 50, and then we can say create drawing, and there you go. You can see we have a very basic drawing line, and you can see the roof elements and the slab do not have a material, so they're cutting black. So I'm going to select the slab, so that's not the slab. I'm going to come to our building story, and I'm going to select the slab here, or the slab, here we go, slab 02, and I'm going to come to object properties, and then here in object metadata, IFC object metadata, IFC object material, it also has a layer set, and we're just going to call this layer set concrete, basically. And then here in the roof, so select the roof there, I want this one to be crosshatch 3. So these are all automatic materials that have been loaded with BlenderBim. I will provide a CSS file below that has all of the loaded materials, but you can also add your own, which I'll get into at a later stage. So with those two materials added, we can just say create drawing, and you can see we've got a crosshatch for our roof, and we've got concrete for our slab. So I'm going to come back to our BIM, Blender, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a site for this object. So I'm just going to go into my normal selection, and I'm going to say Shift A, Mesh, Cube, and I'm just going to say GZ, GZ, and snap it to the bottom here, and I'm just going to say GY and snap it to the edge, and then I'm going to come out of the 2D view, and I'm just going to tab into the box, And I'm going to press 3 so that our faces are selected. And I'm going to select the edge of the box, and I'm just going to snap it to the edges of the grid, basically. So this is going to be our site terrain. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's sorted. I'm just going to collapse the views and come to find where I've added my cube, which is in here. So I'm just going to call this site, and I'm going to drag it into the, I'm going to drag it into my IFC building story. I'm going to come here to IFC object properties, and we just need to classify this as a class. I'm going to go IFC object metadata, IFC class. It's an element. I want it to be IfcGeographic Element. IfcGeographic Element is what we want. And then I'm just going to call it terrain, and I'm going to say assign IFC class. You can see it's been added. So then we're just going to select each section. We're going to press naught again to see how it's been cut. And we're just going to take this and we're going to edit it so that it is bigger than the camera view. So I'm just say GY, and I'm going to bring it out by -1200. And then I'm just going to come here to object data properties and say update representation. I'm going to activate the camera view again, and then I'm just going to say create drawing, and you can see it's added an element there. So that's our terrain. And we want this to cut with an earth hatch, basically. So we're going to come back to object properties. We're going to come here to object, IFC object metadata, IFC object material. And you can see it's only got an unknown material, which we know cuts black. So we need a material that doesn't. So I'm going to come here to the material properties tab. I'm going to create a new material. I'm going to call this earth, lowercase. And I'm just going to say create IFC material. And then when I come back here to object properties, earth will be listed as a selectable IFC material. So then I'm just going to click plus, and now our IfcGeographic element has an earth material. So when I click on this create drawing button, you can see it's got an earth hatch. Now, personally, I normally have the earth hatch at a 45-degree angle, but I'll show you how to edit these hatches and everything later. But this is the default one. Okay, cool. Oh, we want to add another level line. I'm just going to pull this out slightly. So I'm just going to add another level line. And we're just going to say rotate X 90, nope, -90. I'm going to grab the one edge. I'm going to say GY so I can snap it to that guy. And I'm going to say GY so I can snap it there. I'm going to collapse my building story just so I can see this better. And I'm just going to select my other story annotation. I'm going to say tab. I'm going to say GY so it can be snapped there. And then I'm going to select the one I've just added, the section story. And then I'm just going to say GZ. And you can see it automatically updates the height of the level line. So it says 2.6. I think this is just going to overlap too much. So I'm going to select that, and I'm just going to say GY, bring it out, -150, I think. Yeah, that works fine. I'm going to select my other one, tab, GY, snap it to that one. And then I think I'm just going to adjust my camera position as well, GY. We're going to disable our snaps. And I'm going to say GY, I'm going to bring it across a little bit, -350, -350. That looks good. Okay, cool. And then we're just going to say create drawing. And you can see we've added another level line. So, okay, you can see my door is looking a bit messy. It's triangulated a little bit. We can clean that up quite easily. Just press tab into the door. We say AXL. And then when we click on the create drawing, you can see the door has been cleaned up. So this is a fairly comprehensive section. I haven't drawn in foundations and the like, but it's just as straightforward. You draw walls, you draw foundations, and you give them a brick and a concrete material. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is add an elevation. It's most easily done from the story plan. So I'm just going to select my story plan. I'm going to say activate view. I'm just going to reselect the viewport annotation so it updates. And then I want an east elevation so it lines up in the same direction as my section line. And I'm going to say I want to add an elevation, and it is the west elevation because it's coming from the west. And we're just going to say add drawing. and then you can see it's added an elevation tag, and it also added a camera. So we're just going to say, we're going to select the west elevation. Again, it's also added a little collection here. I'm going to collapse my east section, and I'm going to activate my west section view. So we've done this how many times now? You know the protocol. We're just going to grab this guy, and we're just going to snap him to, oh yeah, I got to turn my snaps back on. We're just going to snap him to the edge of the terrain. And then I'm just going to select these guys, and we're going to make sure we select one so we can select vertices. And I'm going to snap them here. I'm just going to make 400. And these guys, GZ minus 400. And then I'm going to select the camera. I'm going to go to the object properties. For this one, I think we can do 6 again. And I'm going to make it 1 to 100 should be fine. I'm going to turn off my snaps again. I'm going to adjust my camera so it is centered. I'm going to select my section level line again. So it's inside of the view. Just turn the snaps back on. Always turn the snaps back on. Snap it there. Bring it out, I think, minus 400. And then select this side. GY 400. Tab. I'm just going to add another level line. We're going to grab it, rotate X minus 90, bring it up to 2.6, snap it so that it lines up outside of this. I'm just going to, I think this is going to overlap, so I'm just going to say GY, bring it to the side again, select my initial, my story level, snap these guys so they line up. Ooh, always turn your snaps back on. And then I'm just going to make sure I said, yeah, we said 1 to 100. So I'm just going to say create drawing. And it's a bit messy, so I think I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to change this to 1 to 50, I think. And then I'm just going to say create drawing. And you can see that something is amiss. Everything is looking good. I'm just going to select this door here. I'm going to say tab AXL to clean up the line work. And I'm just going to say create drawing again. Okay, and let's fix that door. And then if you want to, we can just add a text and we can snap it to the bottom here. We can go to the IFC object properties, collapse everything we don't need, and we can just call this the natural ground line. And we can do the same thing on the other side, snap it there, and call it the natural ground line. Okay, and we're just going to say create drawing. And there you go. Yeah, that's an elevation. If you found that interesting or useful, you can check out more at the OSArc community page. This was made using Blender, the BlenderBim add-on, which is powered by the IFC OpenShell, and the community that we're involved in is the OSArc community. I will provide links in the description, and you can check other videos to follow along. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.